We often get asked, what is EMDR? Is it an effective therapy? Should I consider it? What's it all about? So here's a bit of information so you know what is EMDR.
So EMDR, what is it? Well, it actually stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is a lot of words for a therapy that is fairly straightforward, and although it helps in loads of different areas, it's proven really, really effective when it comes to helping people who have suffered with some sort of a trauma.
So particularly post-traumatic stress disorder and even complex post-traumatic stress disorder. But as Eva said, it covers, you can have this therapy for phobias. And it is really effective. And what's good about it, and one of the great benefits, is you don't have to disclose to the therapist what that trauma is. So if it's an embarrassing situation, basically you don't have to let the therapist know. You just say, look, this is a trauma, and you visualize the trauma whilst your eyes are being directed by the therapist.
Yeah, so, and again, that might be good for children because, if you have gone through something in your life that is particularly traumatic or embarrassing or emotionally very, very painful, it might be really hard to actually discuss it. So the great thing about EMDR is that you don't have to talk about it. Now, it works on the therapist standing quite close to you, and they use their fingers to direct your eyes, and they literally move their fingers backwards and forwards whilst you're recalling your trauma. Now, what they've actually discovered with that eye movement and directing your eyes seems to then, over time, and it's usually up to around 12 sessions, it seems over time to reduce that emotional pain, reduce that negative emotional sort of feeling and the emotionality and the vividness, and then that goes on to reduce the symptoms. But like I say, it's not something that, or it's rarely something that will sort of leave you within one session. Usually they recommend up to and around 12.
But, some people can get over their issues with one session.
Absolutely.
Some people might take more than 12, but it is an effective therapy. And
I think it's fair to say that it's, if you've had it and you've sort of said it doesn't work, or I've had it and it didn't work for me, don't give up on trying it again, because any therapy, whatever that therapy is only as good as the therapist who's delivering that therapy to you.
That's a really good point, that, and particularly because a lot of people that we speak to say, well, I've tried that therapy, it didn't work. That's not always the case. And the thing is, if you've had therapy and it didn't work, then you take, the onus is on you then, and you think, oh, I must be really broken.
Yeah.
That isn't always the case. Just in the same way, if you go to a hairdresser and they mess your hair up, you will go to another hairdresser. And if they mess your hair up, you'll go to another hairdresser. Consider the same process with therapists, because the fact is, if you're not born with an issue, you shouldn't have to live with it. So find a therapist who can help you get over your issues. But EMDR is a great therapy. It was actually developed, Eva, by Francine Shapiro in the 1980s. And actually, we've had the great benefit of working with Professor de Jong, who from Amsterdam University, who was one of the first people who brought EMDR into Europe.
Yeah, and so we've actually watched him and watched his work and watched how they sort of process it, how they use it, and it has been really interesting.
Seen some incredible results.
Yeah, we have seen some really great results. So the thing is EMDR good? Yes. Does it work for everyone? No. But does it work for a lot of people? Absolutely.
Yes, it does.
So don't give up trying. You certainly give it a go, particularly if you're struggling with trauma. So do speak to your GP or to your medical health professional to ask about referral for EMDR, because if you're suffering, then it's always worth it to give it a go. Now, if you found this little film interesting and you want to hear more information about therapy, about our therapy, about different issues to help alleviate anything that's getting you down, then do please subscribe to our channel, and then you'll get a little note to let you know when we put our next film up, which will be every single Monday. So I hope you've enjoyed this film, hope you found it useful, and we very much hope that you will join our little YouTube community.